Good evening, Dhamma friends. Welcome back to another episode of Sutta Discovery, hosted by Buddhist Fellowship. First of all, let's pay respect to the Buddha before we get started. Sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Namo tasse bhagavatu arahatu samma sambuddhassa. Namo tasse bhagavatu arahatu samma sambuddhassa. Namo tasse bhagavatu arahatu samma sambuddhassa. So, in our last Sutta Discovery episode, we've been discussing about the first path factor, Samadhi, right view. And I think you got a note, and even today you got a note, so you know what we will be discussing. So today we are going to discuss about the second path factor, which we understand by Samma Sankappa. Now the Pali one goes Samma Sankappa. But Samma Sankappa, call it what you call right intentional thought. But Sankappa generally means all the intentions that start when you have right view. So when you have right view, whatever the thoughts, intentions that are coming within you, they are going to be wholesome because they are rooted in the Samadhi. This is why this is a gradual path. Although at a certain point of your practice, you will practice these 8 simultaneously. But when you practice these path factors for the first time, you are going to practice gradually. So when you practice them gradually, then you are able to understand the connection that each path factor has to its preceding one, and then overall cross the path factors. Okay, so Samma Sankappa. Sankappa. Let's see the notes, and then we'll then discuss matters one by one. Right. Sankappa. Sankappa is an intermediary between Ditti and Vacha. That means Samma Sankappa functions between views and speech. What does it mean? That means the preceding path factor, the first path factor that we start off the Dhamma journey is Samadhi. And then because of Samadhi, you are able to come up with right intentions. Because of the right intentions, your speech is going to be wholesome. That means a right speech cannot work without right intention. They are all connected. So first of all, you start from right. Actually, I shared something interesting even before Samadhi, right view. If you can remember that even to practice Samadhi, right view, you should have started your Dhamma journey with an interesting Dhamma practice. What is it? Yoniso Manasikara, wise attention or wise reflection. This Yoniso Manasikara is the first thing that you have to practice. That is how you are going to be able to practice Samadhi. Right? Although it is not directly given, according to the path factors, but in some suttas, Buddha clearly mentions that only by practicing some yoniso manasikara, they call wise attention, that someone is able to start off the path, start off the practice. So yoniso manasikara, samadhi, and today samma sankappa. It's not that you practice samadhi in our last class. I'm telling that this is how it works. Samma sankappa. Today we will be learning how many right intentions are there, and how to get started, and how do we bring our Dhamma journey forward with Samma Sankappa. Right? The Pali word kappa has a meaning, anything made with a definite object in view, prepared, or arranged. Now, you know, the word Pali word kappa is also used to discuss about time, right? It is said that bodhisattvas, they spend a lot of time to practice paramitas over the course of many kappas, eons, right? So it is another meaning. But here, kappa means anything made with a definite object in view, prepared, or arranged. Now, what is simply a good thought, good intention? You don't need to think about samma sankappa. What is a good thought? Wholesome thought. Mostly a wholesome thought is a thought that has less judgment, less what you call less contents about kusalas, right? Because oftentimes our intentions, maybe a thought, even a thought, is plagued or maybe infested with lobha dosa moha, more or less. Because of that association to or with lobha dosa moha, akusala roots, what can happen is that there is no enough clarity with that particular thought. So we are kind of driven by those akusala roots, and then we are more into different judgments. But what do you think? Should we have a judgment in our thought? Should we maintain certain judgments? Because if you see the Western mindfulness movement, they talk about staying present and being a non-judgmental person, right? But if you look at your fifth precept, what is your fifth precept? Sura mere, majjapama, dattana, veramani, sikkhapadang samadhiyam. That I'm not taking any food or beverages to an extent that I cannot make a sound judgment about what's happening. That means judgments are necessary to a certain extent. But if we are carried by, if you are driven by judgments, then what will happen? We will be infested, or I would say plagued with certain unnecessary views. But according to the Noble Eightfold Path, as the second path factor, which will arise as a consequence of practicing samadhi, samma sankappa has a way more important meaning. Samma sankappa tells us, presents us something very interesting. That means our intentions, thoughts should come from certain content, certain interesting, wholesome contents, which we have to learn. It is not just a normal thought, which has less judgments. So we are struggling with thinking patterns, habits, and attitudes, right? I think I don't have to tell you about this thing. Thinking patterns, habits, attitudes. Now in our life, now if you live with your family, if you're running a household, you think that you can easily see that most of the problems come from attitudes with others, the way how they think about the same thing. Maybe their thinking patterns. Uh, and so it might be a problem in most cases, unless we understand most of our people around us, unless we kind of want to be submissive to other person's attitudes, which many people don't like to be submissive. Why should I be submissive? You have to listen to me, and I have to talk to you, and you listen to me. I don't want to be submissive. So this is kind of a, I don't think this is going to be a win-win situation, because it's always that somebody is thinking that other person has to listen to me. I have to talk. So attitude. So we had to struggle. We had to deal with attitudes of loved ones. Now you are okay to deal with somebody who has no relationship to you. You don't mind about the attitudes, but if there's somebody who is very dearly cordial, maybe family, maybe a relative, maybe somebody who is loud, is going to have an attitude in their life to you, it might be a very struggling, rocky kind of connection that you have to maintain, right? So that's why the Buddha said it's very important to have this Samma Sankappa. We have Samma Sankappa. We, on one hand, we understand the other person. Also, we understand us in the first place. So we can really maintain a good friendship, good relationship. So it's more about thinking patterns, attitudes. Right intention or Samma Sankappa, as you can see over here, Samma Sankappa follows directly from the right view. Directly from the right view. This has to be properly understood, okay? Samma Sankappa follows directly. That means without right view, you will never be able to practice. You will never be able to have Samma Sankappa. Because when you have right view, only Samma Sankappa properly arises in your mindset, in your attitudes, in your thoughts, intentions. Because our thoughts, intentions arise from our perception of reality. So when you have Samadhi in the proper way, that means you have a good bearing in the perception of reality. So you are easily coming up, you are naturally coming up with what you call Sammasankappa, right intentions, thoughts. If you see reality as it is, you will have no problems. But I think not many people want to always think about reality. Sometimes people want to be spoiled. Huh? I want to be spoiled. I don't want to think about reality, right? When you go eat something, when you maintain different things in your life, right? But if you have Yoniso Manasikara and you've been practicing the path factors on the other side, then you are more onto reality side. So you're more onto what's really happening. So you are making decisions along with that understanding, right? Your thoughts are not twisted. But if you see reality through a haze of assumptions and unconscious judgments and concepts, it will lead to some pretty twisted thinking. So Samma Sankappa is about looking into your thoughts and intentions to see if they align with reality or not. Because if they are not aligning with the reality, then what we are having is Miccha Sankappa, wrong intention. So that means our thoughts, our intentions have to align with the reality. That will help us to practice what you call Samma Sankappa. Samma Sankappa, as you can see, the second path factor, it directly follows Samadhi. And if you don't have Samadhi, then all your intentions come from wrong intention, Miccha. This is a pretty interesting statement. That means before we learn Dhamma, then that means most of our intentions could be related to Michya Sankalpa, wrong intentions. So now we are, let's say, you may be perhaps practicing Samma Sankalpa in the proper way. But if you haven't, that means your intentions pretty much come from Samma, not from Samma Sankalpa, but from Michya Sankalpa, wrong intentions. So we have to now understand what are the wrong intentions, thoughts, what are the right intentions or thoughts. This is our next thing to learn. Let's first understand the wrong intentions. Kama Sankalpa, Vyapada Sankalpa, Vihinsa Sankalpa. Kama Sankalpa means intentions of lust is one word. I would say sensuality. Right? But lust is a strong form of sensuality, a greedy kind of sensuality. And then Vyapada Sankalpa means intention of ill will, and Vihinsa Sankalpa means intention of cruelty. All right. So Kama, Vyapada, Vihinsa. Greed and hatred come from delusion, moha. Non-greed, that means dana, and non-hatred, metta, loving kindness, come from the right way. So every time you feel that you are greedy for somebody, you are greedy for something, that means it comes from it doesn't come from right. It comes from wrong view. You also cannot understand Samma Vacha or Samma Kammanta, because these are the following two path factors on the way, without Samma Sankalpa. Because if your thoughts or intentions are not going to be right, then words and your actions are not going to be right, because your intentions drive your speech. Okay, let's now learn more about the wrong intentions. And then we will go to the right one, which is the exact opposite of those three. Intention free from lust, Nekkhamma Sankalpa. Intentions free from ill will, Avyapada Sankalpa. And intentions free from cruelty, Avihinsa Sankalpa. Okay, let's go back to wrong intentions. Kama Sankalpa. Let's talk about Kama a little bit. I don't think I have a note about Kama over here. Probably yes. Yeah, there is a note. Probably I will kind of make you curious and then go to the notes after that. What does Kama mean? I mean, in our general understanding, Kama is one of the most abused word concept in Buddhist teachings. Why do I say so? A lot of people, they understand Kama, probably they are misguided, misdirected, Kama as such a very wrong, such a very evil kind of thing. Yes, for a monk, for a monastic, for somebody who is very serious about Nibbana, at that point, yes. But generally speaking, for a layperson, Kama has been given in a more, I would say, interesting way. I can actually tell you a place to check. This place is called Metta Sutta, Karaniya Metta Sutta. If you can remember the last stanza, verse of the Metta Sutta. And there we can have a very good answer for this question. What is the last verse of Metta Sutta? Dittincha anupagamma silava. Kami dittincha anupagamma silava. Dasanena sampan. Kamesu vineyage dhang. Nahi jatu gabbaseyang. Punare titi. Dittincha anupagamma silava. Now, when you practice metta, then you are going to cleanse, purify your views. Because metta practice should go to that level. Right? A lot of people's metta practice is a very isolated, room-based practice. Saying those mantras. May I be well, happy, peaceful, may no harm come to me. Difficulties, problems come to me. But every day they are having problems. Every day they are having issues because their views are not good. They don't have right view. They are simply expecting the good stuff. I mean, of course, it's good to say good things to everybody. But the Buddha says our metta practice should one day go to a level that you expect that may this practice help me to cleanse my views, purify my views. And then the Buddha said, do not hold on to any view, right? Especially when you're learning more Dhamma, it is possible that you may run into a view. Why? If you look for Dhamma in a black and white perspective, you will run into certain views. Right? What is the black and white way of learning Dhamma? You think that by learning one sutta, you know all these Dhamma things. Or most of the suttas in the canon, they carry different perspectives, different areas of the teachings. So in order for you to understand Dhamma in a bit inclusive way, it is very important to read most important suttas, probably more suttas under a certain good teacher. Otherwise, you will pick up one sutta and you think that with that one brush, I can paint everybody. I can paint everything, but it is not, right? So here we have to understand properly that it's very important to what you call learn the different perspective, different suttas, maybe more suttas to understand even a small concept. Otherwise, we will ignore the larger, broader meaning of that particular thing. So when it comes to metta practice, I'm picking up this karma, the Buddha said, one day your metta practice has to go to a level where you are not holding on to any view. That means you have the right view, but you are not holding on to wrong views. Tincanupagam. Dassanena sampanno. That means your metta practice should lead you to become a sotapanna. Dassanena sampanno. Now, there comes the important thing now in the third line with regard to our discussion today. Kamesu vinaya gedhang. A lot of translations have been given in a way that overcome all the kamas. Kamesu vinaya gedhang. But what is kamesu vinaya gedhang? Kamesu means sensuality, five or six types of sensualities. Vinaya, overcome, having removed or having overcome. Gedhang, having overcome greed with regard to the sensuality. Does it mean that you have to overcome all kamas? No, it means having overcome greed in regard to the kamas. Right? That means for a lay person, karma is okay. I mean, by understanding the level of the greed, how do we understand, how do we separate out this greed in terms of karma? Now, let's say you would like to see somebody. You want to see someone, right? But you are bringing that karma, that what you call rupa karma. What you call rupa karma is, there are, how many karmas are there? 6 karmas, right? Rupa karma, sabda karma, gandha karma, rasa karma, pottabha karma, dhamma karma, right? Sensuality with regard to what you call sight, sensuality with regard to sounds, sensuality with regard to smell, sensuality with regard to taste, sensuality with regard to touch, sensuality with regard to thoughts. Now, there is someone who is having rupa karma, who has a certain what you call liking towards the sensuality with regard to rupa side, but then bringing that karma to a level of greed, where that person is going to control, manipulate, and then going too much about it and not understanding the limits, parameters, where he or she should stop, right? And that is going to be the greed. That means for lay people, you're still good to go with adequate, moderate karmas without bringing your karmas onto greed. The translation in the Metta Sutta is Kamesu Vinaya Gedan, by overcoming or having overcome the greed towards the karmas. But unfortunately, sadly, those poor translations go by having removed all the karmas. Right? That's pretty concerning. Anyways, so now the first what you call wrong intention, miccha sankappa, is intention of lust. Right? As you can see here in the notes, let's go see. Intention of lust, kama sankappa. This is the wrong intention. Right? Now, how do we understand this actually? How do we understand what you call kama sankappa? Now, although the Pali word karma is there, but this particular context has a certain what you call extreme level of karma. That means when we are too much greedy about karmas, then what will happen? That is going to be a wrong intention, wrong thought. This is why some people cannot stop maintaining, cannot stop having their own greed. So they don't know where to stop, right? So that means now we are talking these Dhamma things in a way, how to understand these things in our normal life. So when you spend your life, if you think that your karmas are giving you a very hard time, your karmas are not under your what you call management, that means definitely you are having karma sankappa. You need to lower it. You need to reduce it. Because if you don't reduce it, that means you will have lots of karma sankappa. It's a miccha sankappa. It's a wrong intention, right? But it doesn't mean that your normal karmas must be stopped, right? Because as a layperson, you must maintain those normal karmas, because they are not reflecting, and you are not bringing them onto greed, karma, sankappa. And then the second wrong intention, miccha sankappa, is vyapada sankappa. As you can see here, vyapada. Vyapada means ill will. Ill will means thoughts of destroying other beings, people, other beings. Now, even when someone is going to kill other person, the first thought is mostly a vyapada thought. It's not panatipata. So, it's very clear that people come up with vyapada thoughts, vyapada intentions, because they don't practice enough metta, right? Enough metta. Sometimes people know we have to practice metta, but they cannot practice metta in the proper way. Why is it? What could be the problem? They know this is we have to practice metta. We should not hate other person. We should not uh, be mean to other people. But they are they are still mean to others. They are still not practicing metta. What could be the reason? The reason is that although they know that this is good, but they are not practicing the what you call the metta at the time that you require to practice it. We call it janato passato. Knowing is not enough. Passato, being able to see the moment of your anger, or being able to see the need of practicing that particular good quality, is also very, very important. That's why people, they get stuck with vyapada, ill will. So ill will normally arises in people uh, in whom there is no regular metta practice. Okay, that means we have to practice metta on a regular basis. Not like today you practice metta and then you forget to practice couple more days, and then you might make some excuses that I couldn't practice metta for whatever the reasons. But in couple of days, you feel that you are not doing well with your mental states. You are not doing well with your emotions, right? Because we need to practice metta every day. You don't need to worry about time. Don't need to look for half an hour. At least 5 minutes. 5 minutes of metta is enough every day. Because quality is important, not the timing. Some people, they are very unhappy about, oh, I went to practice meditations, but then every day I cannot go for 20 minutes. Why are you so troubled about the timing? The most important thing is the quality. There were so many monks who have been practicing meditation every day for many hours, but they could not even attain certain jhanas or certain, what you call, awakening stages. But there was one woman, Patachara, who had lost all the people in her life. She lost her mother, father, husband, children. She lost almost everybody. A very big inner conflict in her life. When many monks were meditating every day for many years, right? Most of them, they've been practicing since morning to evening, like some people practice. But this Patachara, like after she became a nun, she only saw a very small phenomenon that we all see, I think, every day. If you are nearby a natural place, you will see that every day. She saw that there was a place where she actually observed water fell from a high place to a lower place. And if you have a small waterfall, maybe an artificial waterfall in your house, maybe a small pond, you see how the water uh, pours from a little bit taller place onto a lower place. And she brought up impermanence, I would say anicca, onto that. See what happened to that water. That water was uh, in a high place just a while ago, but now that water has gone down. And again, the water, probably new water, falls from the high place. And then she became an arahant. She became an enlightened woman. Very interesting. Now, in contrast to the people who practice meditation from morning to evening, they could not find it out. But they are practicing a lot of instructions. So bothered, very bothered about instructions, and they are arguing each other sometimes, see, I meditate well. But the most important thing is quality. That means you should get the relevant instruction from a teacher, or maybe you forget about everything and then just see the nature, and perhaps you will become a sotapanna in a moment of time, maybe an enlightened person. Who knows? Because we are trying to, practice a lot of things, sometimes unnecessary things, too much stuff. So we are not doing anything. Oh, right. So the point here is that uh, why people come up with Vyapada, it is because that they don't have a regular practice of metta. I would say more to the quality, less to the quantity. So do it every day. When you do it in the proper way. Not those mantras, okay? I ask you to think about the Metta Sutta. That is the proper way to practice metta. You will see Metta Sutta teaches us 15 skillful habits in the first 3 stanzas, and the rest of the stanzas you will see how are we supposed to practice metta, right? So when you understand that, you don't mind about the timing, because you mind about whether you are able to bring them onto your mindset, attitudes, right? So Vyapada arises as a reason of, on one hand, not being able to understand what is proper metta, or although you know metta as a knowledge, but you have not been able to put them into practice when the true conditions arise for you to become, uh, you know, uh, what you call angry, grumpy, or whatever, annoyed, irritated, right? It's like a on cushion meditation, and it's a difference on cushion meditation and off the cushion meditation, right? You come to a retreat, you are so good, huh? Your thoughts are so good, you are so calm, serene, right? Spending 7 days, probably 1 day, 2 days, 7 days. But your real life starts when you go back home, right? Then you should be able to keep that serenity, calmness in the household. But if you cannot keep that calmness or serenity in the household, that means you haven't been able to properly incorporate that practice into your life. In the same way, you practice metta when you feel good. Every morning, maybe you are so good. I'm so good today. But when the conditions arise, when the people you don't like are to appear in your sight, when you go back to your memories, which you shouldn't do, unnecessary memories, then that anger is inevitable. That what you call hatred can be inevitable, because you have not been able to bring metta as a true realistic practice into your day. That is why a lot of people end up with vyapada. What should we do? If you think you have done something wrong to somebody, go for you have to maybe you have to let go of that particular memory, right? Maybe there are people who have done wrong to you, mean to you. Maybe you can forgive them in your mindset. Maybe you cannot forgive them, in words, because there might be other problems coming up, right? But you forgive them with your heart, right? Do these preparatory things. Then the proper metta arises in the proper way. Otherwise, you keep all these things. You never forgive. You are so angry about certain events in your life, and then every morning you do a metta, 5 minutes metta. I think everything will be okay. Nothing is gonna be okay unless you feel happy for 5 minutes. And then as you go to the noon time, afternoon time, oh, lots of hatred arise. Anger, hatred, what do you call irritations, annoyance. No, I shouldn't. I should have never forgiven. I will never forgive, but I will do my metta. On one side, you are not forgiving. On the other side, you are trying to practice metta. This is not going to happen, not going to work. As I said earlier, you may not be able to forgive probably in words because of certain situations, but you have to forgive with your heart. So then everything will be okay. So vyapada can be stopped in this kind of a practice. In this kind of a metta practice, you can stop. And what are the ways of practicing vyapada, I mean miccha, one of these miccha sankalpa is that uh, there are people who can practice miccha sankalpa with regard to vyapada in different ways. They can bad mouth about other people. When they bad mouth, they are trying to destroy other people's lives. This can happen. On the other hand, they can character assassinate. They can assassinate other people's characters. This person is a bad person, which is not true, right? This is also vyapa. So there are many ways to what you call destroy other beings. So you have to always understand in your metta practice, you cannot hate anybody, although they have done wrong to you. If the people are bad around you, keep a safe distance. Set some healthy boundaries, but never hate. Because hatred means hatred. Even you do for whatever the valid reasons, hatred means hatred. So, dosa means dosa. When you have this kind of perspective, you definitely go beyond this wrong sankalpa called, what you call, vyapada sankalpa. Then let's go to the third wrong sankalpa, vihingsa, intention of cruelty. Now, there are some people, maybe many people, maybe some people who are not killing other people in their speeches, whatever, in their ways of behavior, but they bully other people. They pick on other people. They are going to, I would say, hurt other people, mostly bullying other people. This is pretty bad too. So we have to be very, concerned about our thoughts, whether we have a thought of uh, picking on other people, to bully them, to be very unpleasant to their life, right? Here you might not destroy their life, but you still will become a kind of a bully, to that person. So we have to be very careful whether we are kind of torture them, or whether we destroy them, or whether we have greedy thoughts about sensuality. These are the wrong sankalpas, miccha sankalpa. Now let's talk about the good ones. I'm trying to summarize because of the timing. We have 15 more minutes. You can read the notes. Okay. These are the good ones, right intentions. That means when you say samma sankappo, these are the three. Okay. First one, nekkhamma sankappa, intentions free from lust. All right. In our life, if you look at the beginning of the day, when you wake up, you are thinking about your life. You are trying to count on blessings that you have. And you are very grateful to everybody, to you and to everybody around you, maybe beyond you, for everything you have. And you think that you never want to control, what you call manipulate anybody, just because you want to have something done. And you have never been a burden on other people. You are such a very good human being, such a good sentient being. So then you are understanding that I'm going to cut down on my greed, if I have, towards people, towards things, towards food, towards smell, towards touch, towards thoughts. When you do that, you are practicing nekkhamma sankalpa. You are kind of understanding that I need to stay healthy with my karmas. You are not able to let go of all the karmas, because even an anagami person has karma, isn't it? But that karma is a different karma. Ruparaga, aruparaga. They might be likened to be reborn in a place of what you call Brahma worlds. So karma is as such. Don't worry about the concept of normal karma. Worry about whether your karmas are onto greed or not. Right? So if you are trying to reduce the greed you have towards the karmas, then you are having lots of nekkhamma sankalpa. The second one is the opposite of vyapada. We call it avyapada sankalpa, which means metta. A daily practice of metta is important. I always make this point with regard to your life events every day. Especially anger is such a very common emotion to things that we don't like. And when anger arises, people may be trying so hard to overcome their anger. So with regard to anger management, metta is the best. But what do you think? Can you practice metta when you are angry, when you are getting angry? Can you? Is it possible? Let's say you are getting angry. Somebody is very mean to you. Maybe there's an argument happening with a family member. Can you bring that mantra, may I be well, happy, peaceful, may no harm come? Now, this argument is happening now on the other side. What do you think? Is it working? Do you think that you can come to metta? Then metta is a pre-practice. Metta is a pre-practice to anger. That means you must have practiced before you get angry. There are certain things in our life we have to do as a pre-practice, right? Sometimes on a flight, you cannot buy food. You have to pre-book them. Otherwise, you won't get the food. Pre-book. In the same way, metta is a pre-practice. Then what is a practice for anger during the time? That is reflection. Pachavekkana, reflection. That means when you reflect, only then you can minimize anger at the time. Right? So, when you are getting angry, trying to bring metta might be a very difficult thing. So that means metta should have been a pre-practice. And then let's say now you are not angry anymore. At that point, you have to do a post-practice to anger. What could be a post-practice? You could do a reflection again. Because when you are supposed to practice reflection, Pachavekkana, the Buddha asks us to always reflect before we talk, think, act. Reflect during, before, during, after. Think, talk, act. And reflect after, think, talk, act. So, I mean, that means a very good practice to anger as a during and an post practice is reflection. But metta is so good. It's a very, very interesting practice, very helpful practice to anger in a way that we do it before. Right? So then you are going to come up with avyapada thoughts. We call it avyapada sankalpa in couple ways. You are bringing avyapada, the proper word is metta, in three ways. One is you are trying to bring metta before. That means you must have been practicing metta every day in the proper way. Yeah, every day in the proper way. And then you must be able to practice metta, by understanding the problems in your metta practice. Time to time, you go back to your life and do a reflection. Why has my metta practice been successful? Why has the metta practice in my life been unsuccessful? Maybe I haven't understood properly the Metta Sutta, the way how the Buddha asked me to practice it. Right? So this is how you are going to bring in avyapada sankalpa. Second, sama sankalpa. Third is avihinsa sankalpa. Now here at this point, you understand I must be a person who is not bullying anybody, who is not picking on anybody. Now, there are people who always want to pick on somebody, who always want to bully other people just to feel good, They want to feel good by mocking other people, picking on other people, making some bad jokes, maybe very bad ones. Maybe other people are so hurt. So Buddha asks us to think about, you should come up with thoughts, intentions, in which you are never going to bully, pick on other people. You are always respecting other people. Those intentions are called avihinsa sankappa. So samma sankappa has three main intentions or thoughts. We call them nekama, avyapada, avihinsa. That means thoughts of not having greed, and then or thoughts or intentions not having greed, thoughts or intentions not having ill will. On the other side, metta, thoughts of metta, thoughts or intentions of metta. And then third is thoughts of not having bullying, not having any kind of bullying thoughts, not having any bullying activities or hurting activities. We're always trying to respect other people. You're always trying to become somebody supporting other people. You're always concerned about how other people feel. Right? That's called avihinsa sankappa. All right, let's kind of recap, probably go over a couple of things in the bottom over here. Right. This is about karma. Okay. Some steps to practice nekkhamma sankappa. Limit your greed for people and things, which I already said. We have to limit. Moderate your intake of food and drink to stop emotional eating. That's pretty interesting. Not many people talk about it. They think it's not about Dhamma. Don't worry, I can eat whatever I want. Yes, go for it. But the problem is, try to maintain a certain perspective about food and drinks. Don't get obsessed. Don't get infatuated with regard to food and drinks, right? Because that is one way to cut down on the unnecessary karmas. I would say greedy level of karmas. Practice dana. Practice generosity as much as you can. Now, for those people who might not understand the value of dana, I think you certainly understand about dana. I always encourage you to keep practicing dana, not only one day. You go to a vihara, offer dana, come back, and you are happy that you offered dana. Well, keep doing that, but try to make opportunities to make dana. Not only dana to sangha, always try to be generous in terms of sharing your knowledge, volunteering, helping other people, even smiling with your heart, right? Even a good smile that comes from the heart, not like a fake one, an organic smile. Organic smile. I would say maybe what you call a true smile. And then helping other people with a good heart. All these come under dana, right? So try to practice all these danas, not only one dana. Make it a habit, not make it a cultural thing only, not make it a thing that is something in the practice of Dhamma. Make it a habit. So then everything will be a dana to you. Always trying to let go, always trying to give up, right? So that is very important to practice. The first one, nekkhamma sankappa. And then how to practice non-ill will. You can see avyapada sankappa. Brahma viharas. Practice 4 Brahma viharas. Metta, karuna, mudita, upekka. Okay. Now, let me tell you something about these Brahma viharas. Now, what is Brahma here? What is Brahma? Brahma means higher. In our understanding, highest. If somebody wants to spend the day with the highest attitude or with highest form of attitudes, then they are none other than the metta, karuna, mudita, upekka. Karuna is more difficult than metta. Mudita is more difficult than metta, karuna. Upekka is the most difficult, right? But we have to practice them simultaneously as much as we can. Trying to have this friendliness practice, metta. Trying to understand other people, because we sometimes don't understand other people very well. And then that is why karuna is more challenging to many people. And then trying to be truly happy about other people's life, achievement, success, mudita, and then trying not to be shaken, trying not to be, either be on the extreme side of anything. Means you are not shaken by anything. Whether somebody compliment you today, whether somebody will criticize you tomorrow, you're okay, you're good, because you understand. You're just thankful to them, but deep down in your heart, you are not driven by any of those. We call them unshaken. Eight, you are not unshaken by the eight great, what you call, worldly conditions. What you call, labha, alabha, yasa, ayasa, ninda, pasansa, sukha, dukkha, right? Upekka. So then, when you practice the four Brahma Viharas as such, you are going to have a good amount of avyapada sankalpa, and then avihimsa sankalpa. Okay, so avihimsa sankalpa is very interesting. If you are a respectful person, if you really concerned about how other people feel, you are really courteous, discreet, and you are really trying to feel how other people understand, feel, then you are able to practice avihimsa sankalpa as well. Right? A good amount of respect, gratitude, and understanding are necessary to practice avihimsa sankalpa. So these are the three, what you call, samma sankalpas. And as you can see here, now when you have samma sankalpa, then the next thing will be your speech. Now you are going to talk. Whatever the talks that you are making, conversations that you are going to strike up, they will be full of nekkhamma sankalpa. They will be full of avyapada sankalpa. They will be full of avijja sankalpa. If you ever heard that somebody is hating other person, that means that person has no samma sankalpa. If you ever see that somebody is trying to bully other people, that means that person has no samma sankalpa, that thereby that person has come to miccha vacha. So all are connected together. All right. So what I can say at the end, before we go to the Q&A, is that samma sankalpa is a gradual practice. Only when you have right view, samma sankalpa arises, right intention or thought arise. And in this right intention thought practice, you have to be more focusing on nekkhamma side. That means trying to remove the greed attached to the karmas, and then trying to practice lots of metta, and then trying to respect, understand, and then to feel how other people feel about your actions, thoughts, and then speeches. And that is how you are going to practice samma sankalpa. Now, this will lead you up to samma vacha after this. All right, any questions, please?
Bante, since there's no questions from the
Yes.
floor yet, I want to kickstart the Q&A session by asking a question. So, I think the example that was given by Bante about how to deal with nekkhamma sankalpa is actually quite good. One is the moderation on food and drinks, and then the other one is perform dana regularly. So, other than these two, are there any other recommendation by the Buddha in the suttas to help to cultivate nekkhamma sankalpa?
All right. Now, although you see dana from a physical perspective, the idea is letting go. Whatever the greed that you may have towards money and then the food, you are going to overcome. But this perspective has not been properly discussed in many places, because dana has been a cultural practice. Maybe dana has been a need that people think that we should go and do. but dana has not been generalized in a way how we practice it. So basically, practicing dana uh, is a simple and easy practice to many people to get into this nekkam. But let's say somebody is more serious about nekkam. Are there any other ways? Uh, then you can go to higher level of dana. Now, in paramita perfections, we know there are 3 types of paramitas that we understand in Buddhism: dana parami, dana upaparami, dana paramatta parami. Dana parami means we call it bahira banda parichago dana parami. It says that giving up external things onto other people is dana parami, which many people can try doing it. And then dana upaparami means anga parichago, a blood donation, organ donation, right? This is a little bit challenging to some people, right? Even donating eyes, donating, other things as such. And then dana paramatta parami means risking your whole life and trying to do something good, like, how we see in some Jataka stories. So, nekkhamma can be practiced simply, and I don't say easily, because dana is not an easy practice. I wouldn't say dana is an easy practice, but I think every person who is interested about nekkhamma can comfortably, conveniently start it with the dana practice. Overall, let's say you go to a temple, you do a dana, maybe you are giving things to other people in your normal life. But the most important perspective, challenging perspective with regard to dana is uh, the post-dana period. Let's say you offer dana. Now you are dealing with the post situation of the dana. That's why there is a story, which I cannot remember the exact place at the moment. There was a man who came to a palace, and then he is showing the king some miraculous stuff. So he is a swallower of swords. So he started swallowing certain swords in front of the king. The king was very surprised. How come this guy is swallowing a lot of swords? And he was talking to the minister, the chief minister, Purohita. Look, this guy is swallowing, eating up swords. That must be a tough job, right? And then the chief minister said to him, uh, dear Lord, uh, giving dana and not worrying about the dana is more difficult than swallowing a sword, eating up a sword. Now that means dana is not just go to a place and give it up and come back home. The true situation, what you call the true process of the dana happens after you come home, maybe after you give it. The kind of the thought structures that are going around in your thoughts, right? So that means dana is such a very what do you call a fine ideal example for nekkam. Uh, Other than dana, you can practice. Actually, they are also dana. You can let go. Let's say you can let go bad memories, right? Actually, if you let go bad memories, it's a dana to you. Let's say you have a bad memory with somebody, right? You had an argument. You have been keeping that in mind. Then do a dana to you. Let it go. That is a dana to you, right? So you don't worry about it anymore. But a lot of people, they keep it. They keep it. No, I cannot. I must think about it. I must keep that in my mind. I have to take revenge, right? So give a dana to you. So you kind of let it go, not let it grow. So um, uh, there are different ways you can practice nekkam, as you asked me. So dana is one way. Let go the bad things and then try to move on with your life without those trash garbage that you've been having in your uh, past many years, past many decades, right? And try to lower your greed towards many things in your life. We have many people have greed towards uh, their sensualities, right? So I think in order to practice these 3, it will take a lifetime, right? Yes. We got a question on the chat, right? Can you elaborate more on practicing metta when strong old memories arises. In the case of memories of our past wrongdoings on others comes to haunt us. Let go. Give a dana to you. Now you are giving dana to other people. Now, perfect time. Let them go. Let those memories go because you have to move on. You know that it's not uh, good to waste your time. You have a precious short time in your life. You must let go, other forgive, let go, and then move on with your life. Why they are arising? You haven't let them go. That's why they are arising all the time. So let's say now there is somebody who is struggling with this issue. Maybe after this discussion, let's say if it arises again, then think about, I have to let this memory go. They are not anymore in my life. Maybe these people are not anymore related to myself. I don't have to think about this because I have to move on with my life. This is my past and I cannot change anything. I have to let it go because I have to let it go because I want to make myself a healthy person in terms of practicing Dhamma. So give a dana to you. Give the best dana to you. Normally you let go for other people, right? Buy something from the grocery and then you let it go, that desire of that money, and then you drop it in the temple. But now the problem is with you, the bad memories, haunting bad memories. So you have to give a good dana to you. That good dana comes in a way that you have to let go those memories. So you are giving a very good dana to your life, becoming a healthy person. All right. So there's another question. How to practice Brahma Vihara simultaneously? Very interesting. Now, I'm the one who made this claim. We must practice Brahma Vihara simultaneously. The idea, what is the idea here? Metta, Karuna, Mudita should be practiced together, right? This is the idea. How to practice them together without practicing them separately for some time? We have to practice Metta first, right? Now, in order to practice Metta, you may not need to know people a lot. But if you want to practice Karuna, you need to know the pain of the other person, the problem of the other person. So now let's say you started your Brahma Vihara practice with Metta, and then after some time, then you are understanding, okay, now I am equipped with this Metta. I can think about other person's life, especially if there's anything I can do to their life to help ease the problem, help ease their suffering, whatever. So you are trying to practice karuna slowly, gradually. Now, as you practice metta karuna, you think, now I think I have to think about mudita also. Why don't I try practicing mudita in a way that I should be able to truly happy about other people? And then upekka. So when you practice these four separately certain time, maybe one by one certain time, then there will be a time that you need to practice them together. How to practice them together? Whenever the conditions arise to metta, you practice metta. Whenever the conditions arise to karuna, you practice karuna. Whenever the conditions arise for mudita, you practice mudita. Whenever the conditions arise upekka, you practice upekka. Right? Without the conditions, you are not able to practice Brahma Viharas at the same time. So it depends, right? It's like that you are somebody who is donating to 4 charities. Monday you are going to one vihara to offer dana, right? Then Tuesday you are going to another vihara, but in a week of time you are offering for 4 viharas. You take it for one day. You are trying to do this during a certain time. Every time you see there's a condition for metta, you practice metta. All right. Yes, Leon, you have a question? Please go ahead.
Yes, Bhante. Earlier on, you mentioned about right thoughts of not being judgmental. Okay. I occasionally come across monks over here in Malaysia in certain places where they were at public places, eateries, for example, in the morning, uh, standing or walking around carrying their alms bowl, but they're hanging some amulets, tablets on the alms bowl. So always when I come across this, I would say that I would have the thought that these monks could be bogus monks because we occasionally have this kind of issues here. So am I being judgmental in this sense?
No, that judgment, well, I mean, I don't want to disrespect any true monk. We
Yeah.
don't know. I mean, we don't know how they are operating in their own ways. Um, because there are certain monks who go for Pintapath every day. But of course, this is a problem actually. I mean, there are certain so-called individuals who are distributing amulets by force, and you have to give some money to buy them or whatever.
Yes.
Well, I mean, without getting angry, without getting frustrated, just understand what's going on. Maybe you cannot change that as a person. Maybe uh, you you can make other people aware about this thing, but don't become angry because
Okay.
uh, even anger for this kind of thing is anger. Anger means anger. Anger means anger. Jealousy means jealousy, even though it comes from for this kind of reason. So just understand what's going. Patiently, wisely understand what is happening, and you observe everything over there. And then probably you are not able to do many things for that, but you can spread awareness among others if you think that you want to. Yeah, because things happen, most things happen the way that we don't want. So just understand that particular incident. Maybe let's say the people who are who are actually dealing with these so-called individuals are to ask you, "Hey, brother, do you know about these people? Are they real?" Then you're gonna spread the awareness among them. I don't think so. Maybe you can approach the monks in the local temple. You can you can do that wise thing, not just become angry. Like when you become angry, it's an akusala for you. That's not good for you, right? What if
Yeah.
you die at that moment? That's not good for you. Very harmful for you, right? So better to spread awareness, not become angry. Whatever anger is, anger means anger.
Thank you,
Does that make
Bante.
sense?
Yes, yes. There's
Okay.
no anger in me actually.
Maybe a frustration, maybe
Yeah.
kind of
It's
frustration. Why
just
this is
that
why is this happening here, right?
I will abstain from giving them money
Yeah, yeah.
because the alms bowl is for food, right?
Okay, your question was a judgment. Yeah, that's a we need judgment. Let's say you are someone who is walking on the road, but you don't have a sound judgment about the neighborhood. Probably it's a bad neighborhood, right? So we should have a judgment. Now now the kind of the judgment that is not good is the judgment where we bringing wrong judgment, where we always have unnecessary thoughts,
Yeah.
overthinking. That kind of judgment is bad. But we need a certain decent judgment to live, right?
Right.
Now, for example, let me tell you, somebody is coming to you and badmouth about a very good friend of you, really to destroy that person. If you don't have the sound judgment, you will agree to that person. You will be a part of that conversation. Let's say uh, you can't prove that person to the other person. That person is bad mouthing a lot, gossiping, bad mouthing. But if you don't have a sound judgment, you will believe that this false statement, and you will respond to that person in a bad way also. That means we need a sound, moderate sound judgment, but not the judgment that we have with interpretations, unnecessary interpretations, unnecessary what you call evaluations, that kind of stuff. That is the judgment that we don't need. Otherwise, you need that judgment. Yeah.
Oh, thank you, Bhante.
Yes. I think we have a question over here. So, how do we differentiate between being compassionate, karuna, and emotional? How do we differentiate between being compassionate and emotional? I think all these Brahma Viharas are kind of emotions in the first place. Metta, Karuna, Mudita, Upekka. So you are trying to relate one Buddhist mental states onto psychological words, right? Other than that, I don't see there is a difference. All these are emotions at a certain level. I would say, okay, so you may have heard the word called empathy. We need to be empathetic. We need to empathize. So I would differentiate this way if you really want an answer. We can be empathetic at all time. Empathetic means we have to practice empathy. That means we are trying to, we are trying to put us in the suffering people's shoes. That means we're trying to understand their pain. But we cannot do much. Have you seen such occasions? You cannot help them out because it's a very difficult kind of a problem. So then we are trying to understand by cultivating empathy. Compassion means that you are trying to do something. You are trying to do something going beyond, taking an extra mile, right? Taking an extra mile other than the going beyond the empathy. You can help them out, really. So that is the difference between being emotional, I would say being empathetic and being compassionate. When someone reads about a tragedy from the news and feels sad and pitiful for the victims, is he being compassionate or just emotional? That person is at that point is empathetic, not compassionate. Because in order to properly execute compassion, you should be able to help them out in a way. But overall, it goes down to compassion. But initially, technically, it is being empathetic. There's another question. If someone is bad mouthing a common friend and we know it is untrue, should we defend the friend or practice upekka? If I defend, then we'll escalate into an argument. It depends. It depends. I mean, the Buddha said in Singaluwa, the Sutta, if you are a good true friend, you can defend. But it depends. If you think that the person who is bad mouthing is an intellectual person who has gone into a certain minor akusala, then you can say in a nice way, respectful way, you know what, it is not good to badmouth other people. If we have a problem, there's a way to talk, right? I think this defense can be done in a very nice way, right? Now, normally when somebody is trying to gossip about others, a bad mouth of others, you can nicely respond to those people. You know what? This is not important to us. This is their life. This is ours. Maybe they are still trying to catch up. There are certain things in their life. You can politely, kindly, respectfully defend in a nice way, depending on the person who is spreading that bad mouthing. Yes, upekka is the highest quality we should practice, but I think it is okay to defend, but depending on the person and in a very polite, kind way. Normally, people defend in a way that the bad mouther gets kind of irritated. You should not defend that way. When somebody is bad mouthing, maybe they know the truth, maybe they don't know the truth. You need to defend in a very nice way. If I defend, then we'll escalate into with the wrong person. Yes, with the wrong person. Yes, with the wrong person or without knowing how to defend, you will run into an argument, and you never know where you're gonna end up after that. So I suggest to you two things. One is defend, yes, because if there's a good person, somebody's bad mouthing, why don't we just keep quiet? We can defend, but in the nice possible way, in the polite, respectful way, you can do it. Secondly, it depends, the kind of the defense depends on the person that you are going to talk to. There are different people. We can take how many more questions? Okay, maybe another question. There is such condition as compassion fatigue. Yes. How shall we deal with it? Okay. Why does compassion fatigue arise? That means you have been compassionate to the wrong people. Then you think that everybody else is the same. It is not. Don't stop being compassionate because of 1, 2, 3 bad people in your life. Right? Try to be compassionate. You will meet different people. Right? And that's why the Buddha said, before you doing anything, find out Kalyana Mittas. Right? This is what the Buddha said. Before you do anything in your life, find out, seek Kalyana Mittas. Asevana cha balana panditana cha seva. Starting point. There are people who messed up with this and then going to be compassionate to all the bad guys out there. And then now say, I should never do it again. All these are bad guys. You are the one who selected them, probably. So you have to make Kalyana Mitta friendships, noble friendships, as much as you can. Then you do more help to them. Let's say there are people who are not good to you. You can help them in a different way. Because if you go too close to them, too intimate with them, you might feel certain bad things. At that point, you are still helping them in a different way, but having a certain healthy boundary. I don't think that we should experience compassion fatigue. Compassion is compassion. Then somebody might say, hey, I think I have a Dhamma fatigue because my practice has a fatigue. I think there is no compassion fatigue in Buddhism. This is a psychological term. The good way is that you have to practice compassion depending on the persons out there. Try to be surrounded with Kalyana Mittas, and for those people who you think that they are not really good to you, try to set healthy boundaries and still do your help to them in a different way. You can't go closer to them. You can't be intimate with them.